grab your mochas, grab your lattes, grab your cappuccinos, whatever the hell you're drinking. It's your host for today, Jobbers and Goons. This is Coffee Shop Comics, and we're doing a Cosmology video today. One that we've gotten requested quite often is Elder Scrolls Cosmology, so we're getting right into that. Basically what I'm going to do, Elder Scrolls can be a bit of an annoyance when it comes to, learning the bones of the cosmology, so this is going to be a quick guide to it. Now, let's try to get the likes on this up for another cosmology video, or maybe an in-depth aspect on Elder Scrolls lore. If we can get to 100 likes or more, we will do so. I'm also, in the description, I'm going to go ahead and put some reference links that you can check out to learn more. But anyways, getting into this, we're going to keep it simple and kind of bounce around from the different aspects of the cosmology and like where they scale. So first we're going to start off with Nirn, basically the mortal realm where mortality exists and such, right? This realm, the baseline realm where you can find lands like Skyrim, Tamriel, all that, this is the body of the fallen entity Lorkhan. You can argue that that alone makes the lands outer. We also know that outerversal beings from different planes of existence couldn't destroy the heart of Lorkhan, which governs the body. So the fact that's not able to be destroyed by outerversal beings, you definitely have a case for literally the regular lands being outerversal. And this would make sense because of all the crazy threats that reside in the normal, just everyday life of the Elder Scrolls verse. You then proceed to the next layer in the cosmology. That would be Mundus. Now, Mundus itself, despite being outer, where it can contain concepts and whatnot, even the concept of truth, it's completely transcended by the orbis above it. But we do know it is transcendental to Nirn as well because it has aspects and concepts within it that govern the realm below. So it would at least be higher dimensional or another layer into outer compared to Nirn. And this is also kind of where you could expect the planes of Oblivion and Oblivion, as obviously members of Oblivion were not members of Mundus and are kind of outside of it and not rightful rulers of it, and kind of try to mess with layers in the cosmology around here, so they're either here or a little bit above. But that's where you would find stuff like Daedric Princes as well. This is obviously comfortably outerversal already in the cosmology, but we have to continue to realms after that. You then make your way to the Orbis. This is a realm that is completely transcended by the realm above it, Oriel, as it is impacted by concepts that bleed through from the Oriel. So concepts like higher iterations of time, as time obviously has a different meaning within this verse and a different cosmological power. That kind of stuff bleeds through to the Orbis, which was basically like a chaos realm without any sort of governance and order. And it's massively above the likes of Mundus, comfortably in the outer as well. And again, it's kind of only really ever impacted when concepts started to bleed through. We then get to the realm called Oriel. Now, this is the realm that was created as a realm to transcend in a way that the others did so above it, as in the realms we're going to talk about in a little bit. This is an outer transcendence as well, as the Orbis would simply be just something that's a result of the Oriel, and the Oriel is merely a reflection or interplay between the realms above it. So it does continue to raise up the cosmology in terms of outerversal layers and even higher transcendences. So you could say high outer by this point pretty comfortably. You then get to Anue and Sithis. Now, these are a reflection of Anu, and they are infinitely transcended by Anu. However, this realm is still insanely OD. As we know, Anue is equal to Sithis, and that their happenings or interplay is what forged lower, like, reflections of souls in that way, the realms below. So in reflection of soul would basically be like you transcend something and look down upon it and can see it as like how gods will look down upon the earth, how it's like a reflection of what they want to do in games they play. It'd be almost like playing a game, playing chess. It's that crazy of a transcendence. Obviously, this is high outer, and these realms, again, are even transcended further by Anu, which is stated to encompass all things. Now, Anu, despite being high outer to boundless, depending on how you use your terminology, it's technically contained within the void, so you could argue the void itself is just beyond as well. And all of this can be found in the lore that is posted in the Imperial Library online as well, for like a real basics of where you know each layer of the cosmology is and like how stuff would scale in comparison to it. And to kind of wrap this up, I'm going to read a really important creation story from the monomyth about the Elder Scrolls cosmology, and then you'll see how it's reflected in my scaling. So let's get into it. So we're going to get directly into the passages taken right out of the monomyth. Quote, Anu encompassed and encompasses all things, so that he might know himself he created Anuel, his soul and the soul of all things. Anuel, as all souls, was given to self-reflection, and for this he needed to differentiate between his forms, attributes, and intellects. Thus was born Sithis, who was the sum of all the limitations Anuel would utilize to ponder himself. Anuel, who was the soul of all things, therefore became many things, and this interplay was and is the Orbis. So obviously we've covered so far from Anu to Anuel and Sithis to Oriel / Orbis, which we're going to elaborate upon further. At first, the Orbis was turbulent and confusing, as Anuel's ruminations went on without design. Aspects of the Orbis then asked for a schedule to follow, or procedure, whereby they might enjoy themselves a little longer outside of perfect knowledge. So that he might know himself this way, Anu created Oriel, the soul of the soul. Oriel bled through the Orbis as a new force called time. With time, various aspects of the Orbis began to understand their natures and limitations. They took names, like Magnus, or Mara, or Zed. One of these, Lorcan, was more of a limit than a nature, so he could never last long anywhere. As he entered every aspect of Anuel, Lorcan would plant an idea that was almost wholly based on limitation. He outlined a plan to create a soul for the Orbis, a place where the aspect of aspects might even be allowed to self-reflect. He gained many followers, even Oriel, who when told he would become the king of the New World, agreed to help Lorcan. So they created the Mundus, where their own aspects might live and become the Et'ada. This was a trick, as Lorcan knew. This world contained more limitations than not, and was therefore hardly a thing of Anu at all. Mundus was the house of Sithis. As their aspects began to die off, many of the Et'ada vanished completely. Some escaped, like Magnus, and that is why there is no limitations to magic. Others, like Ymir, transformed themselves into the Elfone, the Earthbones, so that the whole world might not die. Some had to marry and make children just to last. Each generation was weaker than the last, and soon there were Aldmer. Darkness caved in. Lorcan made armies out of the weakest souls and named them men, and they brought Sithis into every quarter. So that's also kind of funny. Technically, just off that, it's kind of easy to argue that men are like aspects of outerversal beings. Even if infinitesimal in nature, they're still aspects of outer beings, which is pretty funny to think about. But yeah, that's a major creation story to consider that kind of really shapes the cosmology pretty well and easy to understand. And yeah, it is a complex cosmology with each layer being worth its own video. So if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comment section down below. But yes, Elder Scrolls Cosmology is absolutely broken with high outer scaling. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And again, I'll drop the links down below so y'all can check them out. Check out my main channel as well, Jobbers and Goons, on the road to 20K. We're nearly there. And you can check out my Discord server as well. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been your host, Jobbers and Goons. This is Coffee Shop Comics, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.